guys, it's you and welcome back to another True Crime Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about John List, who basically committed like the almost perfect murder. So we're just going to get into it. Now we're going to start from the beginning. John List ended up meeting his to-be wife Helen a little after college. They hit it off, so they ended up dating. And after dating for a little bit, Helen came to him and she was like, "Listen, John, I'm pregnant." So John was sort of religious, so he was like, "Okay, you know what, let's get married." So they ended up getting married only to find out that Helen wasn't pregnant at all. So this basically John found out after they got married. So John was obviously deceived, but he was like, I'm not going to break my marriage vows. We're going to continue this marriage. So eventually both of them were enjoying the little bubble of like a newly married couple, which burst pretty soon because they ended up having 3 children in the first 4 years of their marriage. So obviously now John had like 5 mouths to feed. There was lots of pressure on him. Now John was someone who was known to be a very hardworking and a very detail-oriented accountant, but like the co-workers and the bosses that he had just thought that he was really off, and like there was just something not right about John. But eventually his work ethic ended up winning, and in 1965 he ended up getting a job as the vice president at a bank in New Jersey. Upon earning that role, List moved his mother Alma, Helen, and their 3 children to a 19-room Victorian mansion titled Breeze Knoll in Westfield, New Jersey. After the List family moved to New Jersey, the 3 children, John, Patricia, and Frederick, were going into their teen years, and Helen, John's wife, was becoming increasingly unstable because there was a secret which she hadn't told anybody in a family, which basically was that she had contracted a disease called tertiary syphilis from her ex-husband who had died before Helen even met John. And because of this, she was having a lot of vision issues, she was having blackouts, she was also just becoming really unstable. Because of this, Helen ended up self-medicating herself with alcohol, and also she was taking a couple of medicines that she had to take for this particular issue, and things just basically went downhill from here. Along with Helen being this way, there were also a lot of other things that were going on in John List's life, because his children, as I said, were going into their teen years, so he was worried about them. His daughter Patricia wanted to be an actress at that time, and there was also a rumor that his daughter was into smoking marijuana. So at this time, John was basically dealing with the morality of his family. He was dealing with the issue that his wife was having, and there was just so much pressure on him because he ended up losing his high-paying job that he had, and he basically lost his job like within a year of him obtaining that particular job. John didn't really want to face the humiliation of telling his family that he had lost his job, so he just ended up pretending to go to work every single day till he could actually find another job. Eventually, John did end up finding a job, but it wasn't paying as much as his earlier job, but he ended up losing that job as well, and this was just a cycle that continued. He would find a job and then he would lose it again, and after a point he just ended up skimming a lot of money from his mom Alma's account. And in 1971, John List was officially bankrupt. John just really couldn't face the humiliation of telling his family that they were actually broke, and also because of the increasing degrading morality of his family, John was like the only way out was to kill his family. On November 9th, 1971, John List woke up and he sent his kids to school. He then took a gun and shot his wife in the back of the head while she was drinking her morning coffee. He then placed her body onto a sleeping bag and he dragged her into the ballroom and placed her there. He then went up to Alma, his mother, and shot her as well, but she was too heavy to be dragged into the ballroom, so he just left her there and put a towel over her face. Then he ended up waiting for his kids to come back from school, and while he was doing that, he contacted anybody and everybody who had come in touch with his family, and he told them that they are going to be going to North Carolina for a couple of months to go and take care of a sick relative. And then he ended up just waiting for his children to come home. Then Patricia came home from school and she was shot as well, and she was placed beside Helen, his wife, in the ballroom. He then waited for his other 2 sons to come. Frederick came home and he also had the same fate. He was shot and he was placed beside his mother and his sister. Then John went to pick up his youngest son, John Jr., from a football game, and he ended up watching the game, and then he drove John back to his house and killed him as well. He shot him and he placed him beside the rest of his family in the ballroom. And after this, he cleaned up, he made himself some dinner, he ate it, and he went to bed. The next day, he got up in the morning, he turned off the air conditioner, he put on some classical music, and he just sat down and wrote a full confession out to his pastor, and he left town immediately after that. John's plan worked perfectly because for a month, no one suspected anything, and a month later, Patricia's drama teacher started questioning things, so she decided to take another teacher with her and go to John's house, and they started just peeping through the windows to see if they could see anything, and the neighbors saw this, so they were like, there are random people who are peeping into my neighbor's house. So they called the police. The neighbors and the teacher decided to go inside and check what was going on, and when they went inside, they found John List's partially decomposed family, and they also found John's letter that he had written, or his confession that he had written to the pastor. Prior to leaving New Jersey, John List had basically destroyed all photographs of himself. He had gone and dropped off his car at John F. Kennedy Airport, and then he had taken a bus into New York City and eventually taken a train to Denver. By the time people had actually found out about his murders, his trail had long gone cold, and there was literally no sign of him. Now we're going to fast forward to 18 years later, where there was this guy called John Walsh. He had lost his 6-year-old son because his son had been abducted from a department store and eventually found dead 2 weeks later. He used his son's death to find a new purpose in life, and he basically ended up becoming the host of America's Most Wanted. Now this was a show which basically used the media in a way to find all these really crazy, scary, wanted criminals. John Walsh heard of John List's case and how he had murdered his family, and he knew that he had to bring his family to justice. So John Walsh ended up going to a forensic sculptor and asked him to make a sculpture of how John List would look now, because he knew that John List had gone unrecognizable for almost 2 decades. So he ended up making a sculpture, and that sculpture was then aired on national television on America's Most Wanted. So this particular episode of America's Most Wanted was viewed by 22 million households, and one of those households was the household of Wanda Flannery, who used to live with her daughter Ava, and both these girls knew that John List was actually her former neighbor who was posing as Bob Clark. So obviously Wanda called the police, and they ended up coming to arrest this Bob Clark, and that's when they realized obviously that John List had been living as Bob Clark for so long. He actually had another wife. He had started a completely new life over here. He got married to someone who actually ended up filing for divorce once he was arrested, obviously, because no one wants to live with someone who murdered his entire family. That's friggin' insane. So John List was obviously sent to prison, and he was sentenced 5 consecutive life sentences for the murder of his family, and John died in 2008 at the age of 82 in prison. The mansion in New Jersey where the List family lived burned down several months after the murders, and the authorities don't really know the cause of the fire, but there was a new house that was built in the same property. The memory of these murders still haunt the residents of Westfield. There was a reporter who went to New Jersey in 2008, and he was just interviewing people around there, and so many parents told him that the children in this area refuse to even walk past that house or that particular property, and they just don't want to live on the same street as that house. But honestly, who can blame them? So this was it for today's video. I'm so sorry for my dog in the background if she was a little distracting, but anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.